get in here and let's brine this turkey. This year I am not cooking a whole turkey baked in the oven. I am cutting this turkey down and I'm going to fry some and I'm going to bake some other parts. And then I'm going to give some other parts out, but I'm not going to throw any of it away. And watch me as I go along and see what I do with all these parts. Here's that 1-quart bowl that I'm using to actually put all the cut parts of my turkey in. You saw a wing just fly in there. Now I'm cutting off this other wing. My knife is definitely not sharp, so please bear with me. They're definitely not going to be crisp cuts, but you're going to get the gist of it and you're going to see how to really cut down a whole turkey. I can go back to my days in culinary school when I first cut down a chicken, and it's just not in much difference. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different size, so you bigger corners or whatever. But I tell you one thing, they'll want to keep me on Survivor. I'm gonna make sure you eat, and I can cut down some animals real good. So as you can see, it's not easy, but just stick with it. Some of the bones you may have to, turn to tear off or whatever, depending on how sharp or dull your knife is, like mine. But you can definitely cut a whole turkey with the knife just fine, as you see me doing here. And when I'm getting in those corners, you see I'm cutting the leg right now, and it's coming off just fine. Now I can make me some turkey legs. I can make me some turkey wings. I can bake them, I can fry them. It's so many things that I've done now that I'm cutting this and breaking it down. So now let's get into the carcass part of it. Now this is the backbone. I'm realizing I better go ahead and do the thighs before I do the backbone. So I'm getting into it as well. Now the backbone, on the bottom of it are the thighs. And once you start cutting through, you'll see the difference. It's not like you're gonna need to know, oh, this is a thigh, this is a leg. You'll figure it out as you go along. And if you see this video, you'll definitely figure it out. You see how easy that was to pull away once I cut through the skin? That's one of the thighs right there. And I am not playing. I'm making sure that I cut each part and I'm putting all the portions, the legs and the limbs in one container. Then I'm putting the breastbone in another container. And this turkey is so big, I can make 4 pieces of breast. I got 2 legs and I got 2 wings. And I could use the carcass to make some stock, make some soup. That's fine. So there's so many things that I can do with this turkey. It was 15 pounds, rightfully so. It is definitely worth it. I went to the store on base, so a lot of people may not have access to it, but if you're in the military, I went to that store on Nellis Air Force Base and I got this for just $11.78. And the smart thing I did was, instead of putting it in the freezer so I can go back and have to thaw it, I actually kept it in the fridge, and then it just easily thawed a little at a time. It's still fresh, it didn't spoil, and that was about for a week. So now you see me, I'm using my kitchen shears as well as a knife to make sure I can cut into everything, because like I said, this knife was dull, so the kitchen shears came in, especially to try to cut precision cuts. Now I finally got out that spinal cord, that backbone, and look at it. The butt is attached to it, and I'm not trying to offend you, but that is a part that people do eat, not just the spinal cord for bones or soup, but people actually eat the butt. There's meat in there. People like it. No judgment here. Now, getting to the next thigh, I'm now on my breast. You see how big these breasts are? Now you understand why I said that I could get 4 pieces of breast meat out of this, like for real. I can go off with some breasts, and they're so thick that I'm using 1-quart container to put the breast in, and I'm not cutting them down just yet because I don't know what I plan to do with all these breasts in the future. But that's the thing, I have options, and you can too. That can feed well over, what did I say? We had initially 2 legs, 2 thighs, 2 wings, that's 6 pieces, and 2 breasts, that's 8. But now I made it 10 by cutting the breast down too. So you got 10 pieces of turkey that you can feed. If it's 2 per serving, you can feed at least 5 people. Just breaking down the numbers and letting you know what an advantage it is to also break down the turkey meat. If you think you're gonna lose anything, I'm gonna show you at the end what all you can do to the things you think that you can throw away, because honestly, there's no part of this turkey that you need to throw away. You can use every single last bit of it and I'm cutting all this extra skin off and all this extra meat because I'm gonna fry it, so it kind of makes no sense to have extra stuff. You wanna keep it nice and neat. So with these things, I'm gonna take them, and this is gonna be some of the meal that Taz gets to eat. So I know she's gonna be happy about that. Look how thick, ooh, that's a big breast, ain't it? Yes, grateful and blessed all at the same time. Well, now we are wrapping that up. Look at that spine piece attached. Like I said, it's the butt. And then we have the actual rib cage and all of the meats that's attached to it because I didn't have that sharp knife. But nonetheless, you can use that for soups. Then now I'm showing you all the pieces that I've gotten. Remember, I didn't cut the breast just yet. I'm going to hold on to and decide what I'm going to do. But I literally am putting back together a puzzle turkey. So that's another indication that you've actually cut it up right, if all the pieces can fit back together like a puzzle. So I got my wings, I got my breast, I got my legs, and I got my thighs. Now let's get into the ingredients. Oranges are citrusy. It also helps break down some of that membrane and makes it fresh, tastes fresh, and just keeps it nice. I already put some lemon juice in it in the process of washing it and prepping it before that. I'm using sage and thyme, just some of the herbs I love to use. And then the bushels, what I did was I put most of them into the mixture, but I also did something else with the rest of them. You'll see that a little later. Now I'm adding the garlic, and I've given you the exact measurements. Either all the measurements is up to you. They're optional as far as, exact, a little more, a little less, whatever you like. Some people favor certain things in their seasonings, and nonetheless, this is what I have. This is what I do. You don't have to do it exactly to par, but the taste is going to be extraordinary. Now, you see the salt. It balances out because not only am I adding cloves, which will kind of, take it a different way, but I'm also adding some apple juice. So first, I'm taking all the dry seasonings and I'm shaking them in that quart, and see why I got the quart, because I have the lids, and then it's just so easy to manage. And I am making sure it goes all the way through, shaking it like a salt shaker. You hear me? Now that I'm done with that part, I'm going back in to add the herbs as well as the juice. So I have my thyme, and I have my sage, and I have my oranges. And I'm just generously putting everything on because as time lapses, and yes, I will be going back throughout the day, maybe once or twice, and just shaking up the quarts to make sure that I kind of get an even distribution of the brine and it just doesn't settle all to the bottom. I'm sorry, I'm anal like that. You don't have to. You can just sit it in the fridge. I'm just that anal. I don't know if it makes a real difference, but in my head, it makes a real difference. And I feel like it does actually at least spread around the seasons instead of keeping it clumped up in one place. Now, that tenderizer right there is that red wine vinaigrette is an option, and the apple juice is definitely not an option. It definitely helps with the flavors and the taste. All of these things come married together. It's simply amazing. You just want to fill both containers to the top, and as long as it covers everything with the apple juice, you're just fine. Now that you've done all of that, you have completed your brine. You can also add to or take away. I forgot to show y'all the process of putting in the actual Cajun seasoning. Now this is also optional. And you see again, I shook it when I put in the dry seasons, and when I put the liquid in and mix it all together, I'm shaking it again. But, using that process and getting everything all marinated in one, you want to make sure that you take your time and get it right. I could have also put some onion powder in this or whatever, but I don't, because I also made the turkey stock and I put some of that in there. And you can see me putting in the rosemary as well in there. I almost forgot, and the Tony's Cajun seasoning is in there, or Creole seasoning is in there too. So the brine is complete. Now let's take a moment and see what we can do with the extra stuff in real time. Here, I'm about to make some stock. I'm using the liver, the giblets, and the gizzards, and the neck bones, some of it, in making this turkey stock. Then I took the other turkey neck and I gave it to Taz, and there's the turkey butt, as well as some skin, the extra skin that I had cut off, and also some of the spine with some bananas and apples. So here we don't let anything go to waste, and I advise you not to do the same, just to make sure that you keep it simple in these streets. Join me next time. Like, follow, and subscribe.